Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio today my friends, Dr. Austin Usman and Rebecca Usman. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
Great. My friends have a beautiful story, a wonderful story that I want others to share from. 2015 was a year for them. I mean, they really had an experience in 2016. And when I heard the story from both Madame and Oga, I said the rest of the world need to hear this story. So tell us about what you went through, a major health challenge, the intensity, the seriousness, the graveness, and how he came out of it. And Madame, who was with him all through, who has even more details than the person who had the issues. So tell us, what is it? January 2015, you travel for something.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. In order to really understand what you just said in the introduction, it is good to look back to 2014.
Okay.
I was working on a team, a committee, and we were working and going around the West African countries in order to establish a geospatial policy for the ECOWAS
By the way,
countries.
Dr. Usman is a geointelligence expert, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
To set up a geospatial policy for the ECOWAS countries. I think that was in December 2014.
Yes.
Our last leg was in the Republic of Benin.
Okay.
And while we were in Cotonou, I was very uncomfortable because I started observing some slight splits, side splits. And I came back to Nigeria.
Split, that is like?
Split vision.
Okay, vision.
Yes, I came back to Nigeria. From the airport, I visited an eye clinic in Lagos, but no solution. When I came into Abuja, in January, I fell sick again. It was slight malaria. And I was down for about 3 days. We went to the hospital here to treat malaria, but the doctor told me I had tonsillitis. They needed to remove it. Tonsils, to remove it. And we were all set to remove it. By the way, my wife here was really pushing that I should remove it. Somehow, my spirit did not go down well, that should be done.
Okay.
And I said,
the doctor thought you had tonsillitis, yes, and wanted you to remove it.
And that was the cause of the malaria.
Okay.
And I said no, because I'm very aware that in our hospitals, once you go, the diagnosis is either malaria or typhoid. And I wasn't convinced. In any case,
you had a fever,
yeah,
which they thought was malaria. And
yes, so we set out to go on vacation. So we went to the UK. That was on the 28th of January 2015. And I told my wife that, why don't we just dash down to India, since I was actually trying to broker an aircraft to conduct a low altitude area mapping in one of the states
in Nigeria.
And I have a friend, his company is Genesis, retired Colonel J. We do area mapping together, low altitude area mapping. So it was them.
So for that purpose, you were going to arrange an aircraft for the
mapping.
Okay.
Absolutely. So while we were in India, we decided the next day to undertake comprehensive medical checks.
Now that you even had some fever at home,
yes,
you used the opportunity
absolutely.
to do.
I had actually done that same test in that same hospital, Fortis Hospital in Bangalore, India, in 2011.
Okay.
So I said to my wife, oh, these people are good, let's go back. So we went in and we started the test, comprehensive test. It was a general test.
How many days did it take?
1 day.
One full day.
So we started very early.
At Fortis Hospital in Bangalore.
Bangalore, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Managata Road. So we got in there as early as 7 a.m. and we started the check up the procedures. And at a point, we had to separate because you had to do the feminine stuff
and you do
the men. Then I had this announcement from their public address system requesting for me to see Dr. Raj Kumar, the neurosurgeon on the 4th floor. It was then I looked for her and we went to the 4th floor to see this Dr. Raj Kumar. When we got to the 4th floor, the neurosurgery theater, he was operating. So we waited at the reception. We waited for him for about 3 hours. When he came out, and here he was, just like you are seated. He sat down. Yes, my friend, what brings you to India? And we told him. He said, oh, nice. How did you come? We told him where we came last night, British Airways. He repeated that question.
How did you come?
How did you come? And he said, did they bring you on a stretcher or wheelchair? And I looked at my wife. I just could not place that question. Again, how did you come? When he kept asking that question, and I told my wife, I said, this man is upsetting me. I said that in Hausa. When the man saw the countenance on my face, he said, my friend, I am not joking.
How did you come?
How did you come? Were you brought on a stretcher
or
a wheelchair? Trust. And I said, look, I told you I came on British Airways.
I came on my own.
Class. You understand me? And he said, I am not joking. From what we have just seen, you are not supposed to be alive.
From what we have seen in the computer, you are not supposed
You are not supposed to be alive. You are supposed to have been dead 8 or 6 months ago. I said, how? He said, from what we have just seen, you have a vascular tumor. Vascular tumor bigger than the size of a tennis ball.
Vascular tumor larger than a tennis ball?
Yeah.
In what part of your body?
No, he did not mention.
Okay.
He did not mention that. And he said, follow me. He took us to the computer, did all this manipulation, brought out the MRI scan, which I had done in the morning in the process of the medical, comprehensive medical checkup. And is that your name? Austin Usman, yes, 3 times. Then it brought out the image of the scan. He measured it. He said, this is the tumor. 8 by 5
centimeters.
Times 8.5 by 6.5 centimeters.
A tumor, 8.5 by 6.
I still have the records. I have all the scans and all the results. It was at that point I knew I was in trouble.
This is not a joke.
That this is not a joke. We went back to the reception. We sat down. And the words that came out from him are not encouraging. He said, at this point, I will advise that you go back to your country
and put your house in order.
Get both families together and discuss and put your house in order. It was shocking. That was very, very shocking. There was nothing we could do.
And you traveled only on holidays.
Yeah.
And you just said, oh, let's go and do checkup.
Yes.
And now you went on your own. Didn't go on wheelchair, and now they are telling you to go and put your house in order.
Absolutely. That was a death sentence, actually. It was a death sentence. So we went back to the hotel and came back. And I said to him, what can you do? He said, my friend, this is not possible. The chances, you have just 1%. And if we attempt to do anything,
1% chance
to live, if we attempt to do anything, you will not survive. Even if you survive, you will become a vegetable. You will end up on a wheelchair forever, and you'll be unable to feed. We may have to perforate somewhere here to insert a tube to be feeding you. That is why I'm advising you to go back to your country, gather both families, and discuss. We went back to the hotel, and I told my wife, what can we do? At this point, we still did not know what type of tumor I was carrying.
Okay.
At that point, we stayed some 3-4 more days. I could not sleep. I wasn't sleeping.
Of course not.
And even to put on the lights in our hotel room, I never loved that. We could not use the TV. Then in the morning of the next day, I went into the bathroom to shower. The moment I opened the shower, I started bleeding. Serious from the mouth and from the nose. My wife shouted, she called him. And he said, this is a bad sign. We should rush back to the hospital. We got to the hospital, we checked, I was stabilized, and I went back to the hotel. 2 days after, when I was a bit comfortable, I could make my trip back. I told my wife that let us go back so that I will put my house in order before I die. Actually, that was how the journey started.
Now, stop there for the moment. So,
Yes.
Madam, you were sitting down with him when they say, how did you come? You were sitting down with him when they say, my friend, I'm not joking. You have an 8.5 and 6 by 6.5 centimeter tumor. And then if you were with him when he was bleeding from the mouth and from the nose, which shows that perhaps what the doctor is talking about has some basis, right? Because that is the first major clinical sign for you to see that, indeed, there's something wrong with me.
Yes.
How did you feel?
Thank you, sir, for having me. It's a pleasure. I think I will still go back because he has skipped some important...
He has skipped some important...
Yes, that he has not mentioned. So while we waited for the doctor...
Yes.
To talk to us about
Yes.
what he has seen.
Yes.
You know, in the preliminary questions he asked, after asking how we came,
Oh, yeah.
he now, he asked him, do you eat, can you swallow well? He said, yes, he can swallow.
Okay, because the doctor didn't expect that he can eat.
Yes, he didn't expect that humanly
You
at
can
that
swallow
stage,
with
he
that
can-
level of tumor.
That level, he can swallow anything. Are you hypertensive? He said, no, he's not hypertensive. He now kept quiet for some time. Then he said, why he's asking all these questions is because from what he has seen in his MRI,
Yes.
he's not supposed to be alive.
He's not supposed to be alive.
At that point, you know, I just can't express how I felt. He's not supposed to be alive. We just came for
checkup.
checkup.
And you are telling us
And
that
then
you are not supposed
saying, how
to
did
be
he
alive.
come? He's not supposed to be alive from what he has seen. That was when he took us to see the MRI,
Come and see yourself.
it is. He said, can we see this? There was a vessel, I think that is like a thread. He said all it needed, if this thing snapped, that is all. and that we told him that he was that the hospital in Nigeria said he had tonsillitis. That the mistake, that is God that brought us at this time.
That if they had touched the
that
thing,
if a pin
touches that
a
place,
pin has touched part
That-
of that tumor, that would have been his end. We said, I said, what kind of thing is this? You know, it was as if it's a dream or I was in a movie. Just to hear that, just for us to go to conduct a general checkup, and then we are being bombarded with this kind of news. It was so unbelievable. So unbelievable.
So, tell us, how did you feel? Were you frightened? You must have been frightened, of course.
I was frightened.
Scared.
I was shaking within me. Truly, I was shaking.
But then you called some pastors to pray, right?
We had
No.
not reached
Not at that point.
Yeah.
Not at that point. What happened is, you know, he said, since he told us that we should go and think about it, that the surgery is possible, but the outcome is
The 1%.
Negative. Yeah.
negative. He told us that they can try. It's not a guarantee that he will come out alive. Even if he comes out alive, he will be paralyzed. That one we should be sure. And his sight, he might go blind.
Oh yeah.
Or he will not be able to walk at all.
And that
He
may
will be a
able-
garbage. Yeah. That they
Eating-
will put a tube in his, I don't know, his stomach
Yes,
also,
yes.
just to be feeding him. So those are the scenarios that
so,
we were given.
So from then, what next?
That was when I told her we should gather our. Actually, we checked out of the hotel,
Okay.
and I said, let us go back to the hospital
I told
so
them,
that I will tell them I'm going. I'm no longer staying. I will not attempt. I will follow their advice to go and discuss and arrange my home. Then she said, okay, let her pick the result of her
Own test.
test.
Because she did
Because
test
I
too.
was no longer interested
mammogram.
in my
yes.
result anymore. Which result do I need again when the doctor has passed his verdict? So in the course of her going for her result, I was standing there at the reception of the hospital, and this elderly man walked straight to me. I think he's in his 70s, limping. And he just said to me, God sent me to you. I looked at him, whether I can see traces of a Nigerian person in him. I did not see that. Then we sat down, we started talking. This man and the wife just arrived that morning from Nigeria.
From Nigeria.
We never knew them. As we were talking, somehow the wife also met my wife. According to her, she approached you and said she loved your
Outfit.
dress. She will say that part. So we started talking. He said, whatever brought you here, do not be afraid. Stay and do it. God sent me to tell you that you should do it and you will survive. I never told this man anything. He doesn't even know why I am there. I could just be a passerby. I may just have escorted somebody to the hospital. I wasn't convinced though. Then he came, the wife came with my wife, all the introduction, and they happened to be a couple from Abuja. The wife was in her late 60s, and the man was early 70s, thereabouts. So we introduced, and he said to me, he wants to talk to me and tell me the message. I looked at my wife. I said, well, these are not young men. So I will not say they are trying to play any pranks or this type of stuff. Then we now follow them to their own hotel and checked into their hotel. He talked to me, explained to me, told me everything he could tell me, his own experience. And I said, okay, I believe I will attempt to do it. I said, I will attempt to do it. So what I did, we now came back to the hospital the next day, and I told the surgeon, Dr. Rajkumar, that I'm ready now to do this. And what he told me was not encouraging. Again. He said, my friend, it is not what you think. It is not what you think. It's not something that will just wheel you into the theater. You come out 2, 3 days, 3 weeks, and you go home.
That is a long process.
It's a long process that they will have to plan this.
So tell us, Madam, the woman that came, the wife of the man.
Okay.
So while the husband was talking to him at the reception, the wife was talking to you somewhere.
Yes, I went to the mammogram department
section, to collect your results.
To collect, I was sitting there reading. So this woman passed, and then she stopped because I was tying a wrapper. But she was not dressed. She was wearing skirt and blouse, and she's elderly. So she now stopped. She greeted me. I greeted her. We were talking in English. She said, "Are you from Nigeria?" I said, "Yes, I'm in Nigeria." Said, "From where?" I said, "From Abuja." Said, that she too, she's from Abuja. I now greeted her. And she asked whether I speak Hausa. I said, "Yes, I speak Hausa." So we now started communication. I said, "I'm here to collect a result." So she now told me about that. She came with her husband, but she is using the opportunity also to do her own checkup. So we introduced ourselves anyway, and I told her that anyway, it's just I'm collecting the result because we are going back to Nigeria tomorrow. Oh, she said, why? I said, well,
we're going to die.
We didn't hear a favorable outcome. So I said, if I collect my result, I will meet my husband so that we will go, So we just talked like that and kept quiet. I collected my result. I went to the reception to meet him. I now saw him sitting with
the husband of the
with a man, Not long, the woman now came. So that's how I got to know that.
Okay.
Yes. So in that process, I think the man now started talking that he has spoken with my husband and that we said we are going back to Nigeria.
That he should not go.
That he has already told him that if we know what he has gone through that this is the second, that they were here 2 years before. So they have come for a follow-up, so that because he had a serious surgery. He too was in the theater for a long time, and he had it like twice. And at a particular time, he was off. He was kind of dead.
Crawling.
His own case is a severe one. I think kidney or whatever, that he couldn't walk. But the hospital tried to put him in order, and in the process, he almost passed away. And he told us about his experience anyway. So he now encouraged us that the hospital is very good.
So because of his own critical experience, he has a lot of confidence in the
hospital. That no matter what, we should just
in addition to God speaking to him.
Absolutely.
He also has a lot of confidence.
And so, the amazing thing is that it's the same doctor that worked on him that we saw.
The one who has been giving bad news.
Exactly.
Yes.
So he said that we should not bother. that let's wait.
And you
see
told him
what
that, but the
God can
doctor
do.
says we have no chance.
He said no, that we should even follow them to their own hotel so that we'll be together. That he just to encourage us.
We have about 2 more minutes. So in this first segment, so from there you went with them after collecting your result to their hotel, and that's where you now checked.
We checked in with them.
So what then happens before we close this segment? What then happened with the doctor? You told the doctor you are coming back.
Yes, we now came back, and I told him we've thought over it, and I'm ready to do it. He said, he looked at me and said, my friend,
you think it's a child's play?
It is not what you think. It is not what you think. Why the sudden change? And he saw that man. He said, oh, did we come together? No. Meanwhile, this couple came that morning. And we were the first to meet with them before even meeting the doctor. So there was no way he could have known my issue at all. The man said, it is not the type of surgery you think we can just wheel you into the theater, 2-3 days, 2 weeks, you go back home. We have to plan it, and the planning will take time. And I asked him, how much? He said it's not about the money. I think it was tough. The next question I asked him, can you save me for my children?
Can you save me for my children?
I think until today, he keeps telling me those words
touched him.
That question is the reason why they attempted.
Can you save me for my children?
Can you save me for my children? That was the reason he attempted. He said it's not the money.
So, Madam, at that point in time, I'm still saying, in terms of your relationship with God, at that point in time, what was going on in your mind? Say, God, where are you, Abi?
Well, I don't know. Somehow, on the day we were told that he had that issue, I said, well, doctor, that is your own report.
Abi?
Because I had faith. Truly, I had faith. I know that it will not be an unto death matter. I don't know, right from that first day. Because when he said, truly I was shaking.
Yes, of course, anybody will be.
I even felt like weighing on my body. But,
normal.
When he, was saying all the negative things, I told him, I said, that is your own report. The God we are serving has his own final say.
It's a God of miracles.
Final say. So I held on to it.
So when this man, this other Nigerian, when he now said, don't worry, don't go home, let's stay and whatever, it was like a confirmation.
Yes, it was like a confirmation.
Absolutely.
Because even that night, that evening, sorry to say, we had a prayer session.
Okay.
With the couple. Yes.
Well, let's end this segment here. We shall have a second segment to continue. I have been speaking with Dr. Austin Usman and Mrs. Rebecca Usman, who had a fantastic experience in 2015 that I believe everybody needs to hear about. They are just giving us a bit of the details now. We hear more of the details in another segment.